Okay, welcome back to another vid. This is going to be a tag response vid, and this is coming about because around about a week and a half ago, give or take, I did a pickups vid and showed off a number of games, obviously, as you do on a pickups vid, that's usually how it works. And I received a comment by one YouTuber in particular who I've actually been subscribed to for, I'd probably guess, at maybe a couple of years, but someone who, embarrassingly, I've never really watched a great deal of what he does, or commented. I don't know if that's like a good thing to say or not. Is that rude? I don't mean it that way. I mean, obviously I'm subscribed to him, so there's something I liked about his channel. I think it's that thing that, we're subscribed to so many people, there's only so many hours in a day, let me keep digging, how many more excuses can I come out with? But no, I think it's all valid. I think those reasons are valid. And also I think with some of us, if you think about it, we're all aware, I think, or most of us are aware of each other's channels. There'll be people watching my channel now, watching this video, who aren't subscribed to me, but maybe watch me every now and again. That's a bit like how I was with Ben, TRX Space Station, although the only difference was I was subscribed, but I wasn't really watching that much stuff, and I think it's because we're all in our, our little cliques within the community, and for whatever reason, sometimes there's this barrier there, this like force shield, which is stopping us, for some bizarre reason, branching out and joining other circles. It doesn't mean to say we've got to leave another one behind. We can extend our circles and meet new people. And I'm the same. I'm not going to pretend that there's people watching this and it's not the other way around. I am more than aware of numerous channels out there who do the same thing that I do and the same thing that you do with pickup vids and gameplays and responses and all that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, I've just not subscribed. I mean, they're decent people. I like them. And when I watch their vids every once in a blue moon, it's pretty good. But I don't know what it is. Sometimes you just don't click on that subscribe button. I don't know what it is, other than, like I say, maybe we're all kind of comfortable in our little cliques and we don't feel a need to branch out. But I think it's a good thing. And it's definitely a good thing because, like I say, I've been subscribed to Ben for a couple of years, I reckon. And even though I've not watched a lot of his stuff, by him leaving a comment on my video a week and a half ago, it made me click on his channel and think, what's he been up to lately? And I'm glad I did, because I've watched a couple of his vids and I'm now, as a result, doing this tag response video. So I think the moral of the story is, just branch out. Don't be afraid to subscribe to someone. What's the worst you can do? You click on that button, and then if it's like a few weeks or a few months later, you decide it's not really your thing, or maybe they're not releasing or uploading that many vids, you can always unsubscribe. But even then, I don't know why people I'm going off on a rant now. I don't know why people unsubscribe from channels that haven't made videos for a while, unless we're talking years upon years, because they're not exactly going to clog up your feed with their inactivity. You know what I mean? So you may as well stay subscribed if you like what they do, because there's a chance that they may come back. So let's move on to the actual topic. Now, I've got Ben's video in the corner here, as I always say. I know you can't see it, but it's on my screen. And it's basically just called Community Collection Questions. And there's 5 questions, and I'll obviously read them off and reel them off one by one and then give my answer. It's an open tag. He didn't tag me specifically, or anybody for that matter. So if you like the idea of doing a response, then please do. I'll put a link, of course, to Ben's channel or to the vid that I'm responding to, and check him out, because he's a nice guy. I know it's rich of me to say when I've been subscribed for 2 years and not watched a lot of his stuff, but whenever I have watched it, he comes across as a nice guy and all the rest of it. So the first question is a game that cost £5 or less, or in brackets he's put there, or $7. $7.13 actually, Ben. I checked it out last night. It may have changed since. So, but yeah, this is a game which fits this category. I've actually done a gameplay video for this. I'm not going to link it. You can search for it if you're really that way inclined. It's Project Overkill on the PlayStation. Now, this, as you can see, is the NTSC American version. When I initially got it, it would have been the PAL version. I remember literally like it was yesterday, as the old cliche goes. I was in game, I was looking for a game to buy, and I had like 40, 50 quid, burning in my pocket, just had to spend it. It came out, I think, 98, let's have a look. 96, wow. So, and it probably would have been around about the time I got it was 96. So I was 17, 18, and what I'd do back then, I've talked about this a few times, I'd often go into a game store, whether it be Game or Electronics Boutique, where I used to work as well, actually, but more about that in the future. And I'd just basically look at a cover, and if it looked interesting, I'd look at the back. And if the back looked interesting, even if I didn't know anything about the game, I might not have seen it in a magazine, maybe friends hadn't talked about it. If I just liked the look of it, if it sounded appealing, I'd take a punt. I'd buy it. You know, back then, still living at my parents', I had, you know, an indispensable income, really. I didn't really have to pay any rent of sorts, just give my mum like a bit of keep every week, but it was hardly anything. And the rest of it I squandered on games, on going to football matches, going to gigs, whatever else for that matter. And so I just used to buy loads and loads and loads of PS1, N64, and Sega Saturn games, that kind of era. And a bit of Dreamcast as well, latterly. So yeah, it's basically an isometric 3D shooter. I still think it looks really good. The controls are a little bit, I was going to say tight, that makes it sound as if it's a good thing. I don't mean tight as in well controlled. It is well controlled, but it can at times be a little bit awkward, depending on where you're running and what angle and you're trying to shoot. But you soon get used to it. I love the fact that it sounds a bit gory, but it is. You know, the blood kind of splatters off the aliens, and I guess some of the humans that you kill. I mean, they're bad guys, so it's alright. It kind of splatters against the walls, depending on what angle you shoot them from, or shoot them at, and also the environments are partially destructible with gunfire or with bombs, or you can just go up to them and smash them with your fist. That's really good. So, yeah, a really good game. Thoroughly, I feel, underrated, and I think it's flown under the radar for a lot of people. So that's Project Overkill. I'm going to guess you can probably get it for under a tenner on PAL format, because that's how much I paid for it going back maybe 3 years or so. The American version, as I say, which I've got here, is around about, well, something similar, maybe $10, which is probably around about £6, £6.50, give or take. Really good game, and I thoroughly recommend it. Like I say, if you want to check out my gameplay vid, do you know what? I will link it, just in case you want to check it out. It'll be below. It's not the greatest vid in the world, but it'll give you an idea as to what the game's all about. Thoroughly recommended, and cheap. Second question. A game that was recommended to you. Now, I'm slightly cheating here, because it was a game I already had. It was a game I knew about. I didn't know a great deal about it. But it was recommended in the sense that somebody on YouTube, Pete, SNEStastic, would constantly, and I mean constantly, pester me to play this game. It's my fault because I kept putting it off. And I'll tell you what it is, and I'll talk a little bit about it. I'll show you what it is as well. It's Uncharted, the original one, Drake's Fortune. I think the NTSC American covers that we get over here are different to the ones in the PAL region. I kind of like this one, with a green and yellow kind of background. So, yeah, Drake's Fortune on the PlayStation 3. Now, as I say, of course I was aware of this game. I had it. I knew it was really good and getting rave reviews, but I just had so many PlayStation 3 games back then, and I still do, that it just took a back seat. I wanted to play it, but there's so many other games that I wanted to play in front of this, quite frankly. So I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and every now and again Pete would turn around and say, Alex, have you played Uncharted yet? And I'd say, not yet, Pete, but I will. 24 hours later, Alex, no, Pete, not yet. A week later, Alex, no, Pete, go away, stop asking me. No, obviously, Pete's a great lad. And eventually I just thought, you know what, just to silence Peter, I thought, I'm going to play this game just to shut him up, and just to get him to stop me from asking every 5 minutes. And I put it on, and do you know what? Let's say, I can't remember the exact day I put it on, but let's just say it was like a Friday. I put it on a Friday night, let's say 8 o'clock, and I played it up until like midnight, give or take, and then I went to bed, got up the next day, played it again for 4 or 5 hours straight, and finished it. So when I finally put it on, I found it was a game that I couldn't put down. I thought the storyline was amazing, the gameplay was really good. I was just really impressed. And for me, it lived up to all the hype, and I just can't believe that it took so long. And I'm talking like 2 years, maybe more, of owning this game unbelievably before actually putting it on. So if it wasn't for Pete really constantly barraging me, asking me to play this game, ordering me to play this game, I probably still wouldn't have done it all these years later. And I've got Uncharted 2 and 3, and I've not even played those. Can you believe it, Pete? Don't even go there. Don't go there. Don't tell me to play them constantly. But I will eventually. So that's Uncharted. It's a great game. I'm sure everyone else has played it, but thoroughly recommended. So the third question, a game that is challenging. Now, I could have picked so many for this. The one which ideally I wanted to pick is a recent pickup, but I'm not going to show it because that'll be on my next pickups vid. But that is bloody hard, believe you me. Really, really difficult on the Super Nintendo. So I narrowed it down to 2 games I'm kind of playing on and off at the moment. One on the Atari ST, one on the Amiga. This is the Atari ST, and it's Shadow of the Beast. A really good game, a classic, absolute classic game. I think there's a few in the series, actually. Side-scrolling fighter, if you like, beat-em-up, platformer of sorts. really, really challenging. Now, a lot of people say the second one is harder. I played the second one, back in the day. I can't remember offhand whether it's as hard as the first, but it wouldn't surprise me. But this is really, really tricky, or at least I'm finding it tricky. But the graphics, fantastic, the music, brilliant, very immersive, and I'm absolutely loving the game. And I hear as well that, and I think I probably heard this rumour maybe 2 years ago, that they're thinking, or maybe not thinking, they are going to be bringing a new Shadow of the Beast game out, and I believe it's a PlayStation exclusive, but I think it's coming to PlayStation Network online, like a downloadable game only. So that's a bit of a shame, because I would prefer, obviously, a physical copy, but if it's just a digital game only, then so be it. With that said, it depends how much it is, because if it's like $40 or $20 even, forget it. If it's like 10 or maybe 5 on a sale, I'll probably investigate it. So, but that's that. So yeah, Shadow of the Beast, brilliant game. If you're around about my age, give or take, then you'll recognise this. Obviously, it's a very much a 16-bit game, Commodore Amiga, Atari ST, and I think it was out on all the 8-bit systems as well. So, Amstrad, Commodore 64 Spectrum. 2 games left, so 2 questions left. And number 4 is a game you wish you'd played more. So, I was thinking about this one, and I thought, is there really a game out there which I wish I'd have played? Not really, because if I hadn't played it in the past, then I can now, I can in the future. It's not so much of a big deal. I guess you could miss the craze. Like, let's say you didn't play, let's say you never played Mario or Sonic. Well, yeah, there's nothing stopping you playing it now, but really it would have been better, I guess, playing it, back in the day when it was popular to understand what all the hype was about. And I did. I played those games kind of back in the day. Mario, not so much. Occasionally. I was never really into it, to be honest. Blasphemy and all the rest of it. Blasphemy and all the rest of it, if I can say it right. Or maybe I did say it right. I'll soon find out when I play it back. But what I've gone with a game which I've kind of played, but I've not really played it. It'll make sense once I show the game and start talking about it. It's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, quite frankly, you could substitute this for any Grand Theft Auto game. So Vice City, Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto 2 for that matter, or the original. They're the London spin-off series, the latest one on the PS4 and the Xbox One. And what I mean by the fact I've never played it is I've never really, give or take the odd mission here or there, I've never really sat down and played the campaign on any Grand Theft Auto game. The temptation, it's just too much to not want to get in a car and run 3,000 people over or shoot everybody in the street. It's just a game, obviously. I'm not a lunatic. But we all do it, don't we? That's how, or at least the majority of us, that's how we play these kind of games. We look for the highest jump, and drive off on a car or on a motorbike, or just do stupid things. That's what we do. And the reason I picked this game specifically is because me and one friend in particular called Sam, we would spend hours upon hours upon hours, days, weeks, months on this game. It's like we played nothing else, and we'd take it in turns until someone lost a life, or until we got bored or whatever, and then the other person would take over. And like I say, we'd just watch each other going crazy, watching like our wanted levels going up, being hunted down by the cops, and all that kind of. It was just brilliant, escaping, from jet planes and trying to find UFOs and Easter eggs and all that kind of stuff. A brilliant game, but one which I've never really played. I tried to get into Grand Theft Auto 4 on the PlayStation 3. I've still got it, of course, and the expansion packs. But again, that temptation of just wanting to piss around and not play the actual game was too much. So, yeah, all the Grand Theft Auto games, I really want to play them, but for some reason, I just never do. But I'm guessing, actually, that's quite common. I'm guessing there's a lot of you out there are going, yeah, actually, I don't really play the campaign either. But I do want to, and I will eventually. But what can I say? And then last but not least, and apologies for the light, it's starting to get a little bit kind of dark. Cameras, that made a difference slightly. It's coming up to kind of 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's that time of year and all the rest of it. The last question, a game you've completed. So there's quite a few that I've completed recently on the Xbox One, some digital games, which, ridiculous, like Scrabble, completed Scrabble. Got my latest achievement, which was, I think it was, what was it? It was beat the hardest difficulty set, and I think you had to have 3 other computer control players on the hardest difficulty setting. So it's just law of averages. You'll do it eventually if you can come up with some, a few decent words. Not cheat. I didn't cheat. I mean, I guess I could have, but yeah, I got it eventually. Just repetition. You will get that achievement if you keep trying. But it was difficult because the computer cheats. It comes out with all these words which you've just never heard of. It's ludicrous. So yeah, I've done that. I've done a plethora of online titles and a few digital games as well. But the one I've actually went with is a very nostalgic one, and one which I featured on a pickups vid going back October time when I rebought the system, imported it from the UK, the actual pack I had back in the day, and it's Aladdin, a game which I absolutely love. Aladdin on the Mega Drive. Did I say Mega Drive? It's pretty obvious by the case. I played the Super Nintendo version as well, but it's nowhere near as good. At least in my opinion. I mean, maybe you grew up with the SNES version and you absolutely adore it. And if you do, fine. I mean, I like it. There's nothing wrong with it. But for me, this is the definitive version of Aladdin on a console. So, yeah, I just remember getting this. Like I said, I touched upon this in the video that I made back in October. Let me just turn this off a second. Sorry. Alarm going off. Or phone going off, I should say. So, yeah, I touched upon this in the video that I made back in around about October, but I remember getting the Mega Drive on Christmas Day 1993, and all I did basically probably for 4 or 5 days, or a week, or whatever it was, until we went back to school, all I did was play on this. So I completed this in late 93, but it didn't stop me from enjoying it, you know, into 94. I still played it and beyond, because it had that charm about it. The graphics are fantastic, still looks absolutely amazing. The sound was brilliant, and again, to me, still brilliant. And I was just blown away by how realistic it looked and felt. And as I say, I still think it looks brilliant. It's one of my favourite games. I mean, that favourite game list of mine is very long. There's hundreds on there, but this would definitely be one. So, yeah, Aladdin will forever remind me of Christmas 1993, sitting down, playing it. I remember some really tough levels, in particular, one with like the kind of a lava-y, red, orangey background. I think that may have been the one where you're on like the flying carpet. That was hard, or at least it was initially. And yeah, just an absolutely brilliant game. So I'll wrap this video up. There's 5 games altogether, 5 questions. Please check out Ben's channel, T-Rex Space Station. He's a really nice guy. Again, I've been subscribed a couple of years and I've not watched a great deal, but every now and again I have watched and I've left the occasional comment. But it's good to kind of add Ben's channel to the list, if you like, of all the YouTubers who I can now check out on a regular basis, because we've done that interacting, and I think sometimes that's a good kind of stumbling block, if you like, to overcome, to discover new channels. So if you don't know who he is, please check his channel, and I'm sure you'll like it, and if you do, obviously subscribe. If you want to do a response, then it's an open tag, so please feel free to do that. And until my next vid, which will be probably sometime over the course of the weekend, or maybe next week, whenever it is, then thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.